Most welcome to lecture number 4 of my series on Introduction to Linear Algebra. I shall discuss the concepts of linear combination, linear span, linear dependence and independence, row space, column space, and rank of a matrix in this video. These topics are extremely important in linear algebra. From my own experience, I can tell you that if you don't have a good understanding of these topics, you will have difficulty in understanding further deeper concepts of linear algebra. Hence, watch the full video very attentively. Let us start with the definition of linear combination. If v1, v2, etc. Vr be R vectors in Rn, then any vector v is said to be a linear combination of these R vectors v1, v2, etc. Vr if there exist R scalars, means constants, say c1, c2, etc. Cr, such that this v can be written as c1 v1 plus c2 v2 plus etc. plus cr vr. In other words, linear combination of the vectors v1, v2, etc. vr is any combination of this form c1 v1 plus c2 v2 plus etc. plus cr vr, where this c1, c2, etc. cr are constants. Now, you can understand that for different values of c1, c2, cr, means these constants, we will get different vectors as linear combination of these are vectors v1, v2, etc. vr. The set of all such vectors is known as linear span, or span of these are vectors v1, v2, etc. vr. Formally speaking, let S is equal to v1, v2, etc. vr be a set of R vectors in Rn. Then the linear span or span denoted by Ls is defined as the set of all linear combinations of the vectors in S. That is, in set builder form, if we write Ls is equal to the infinite set of vectors of the form C1 V1 plus C2 V2 plus etc. plus CR VR, where C1, C2, etc. CR are real numbers or constants. Now, if we look at this definitions geometrically, then let this is my vector v1 1 1, and this is my vector v2 is equal to say minus 1 1. Now, if I consider the set of all the linear combinations of these two vectors v1 and v2, can you tell me what kind of a set, or geometrically what we will get? Okay, let us consider one specific linear combination. Say, for example, if I consider a linear combination, say 1 into v1 plus 1 into v2, that means v1 plus v2. So v1 plus v2, that means I have to add v2 with the v1. So I will get a vector like this, v1 plus v2. Now, say if I consider another linear combination, say 2v1 plus minus 1 into v2. That means 2v1 minus v2. So 2v1, that means I can think that I am doubling this v1. Say this minus v2. Minus v2 means from this point I have to traverse in the opposite direction of v2 with the length equal to v2. So that means my vector will look like this 2 into v1 plus minus 1 into v2. So this is a linear combination where c1 is equal to 2 and c2 is equal to minus 1. Now let us consider another linear combination, say minus 2 into v1 plus 1 into v2. So minus 2 into v1, that means I need to move in this direction, minus 2 into v1. Say this is my minus 2 into v1 plus 1 into v2. Plus 1 into v2 be something like this. So my vector will be this minus 2 into v1 plus 1 into v2. Now, in a similar way, you can find that v1 plus minus 3 into v2 will be a vector like this. In this way, if I consider all the linear combinations and the set of such combinations, that is the linear span of these two vectors, can you understand or identify geometrically what we will get? Absolutely correct. We will get the whole two-dimensional Cartesian plane. That means I can write that the linear span of these two vectors, or the set formed with these two vectors v1 and v2, will be R2. So in this way you can find linear span for any two vectors given. If I consider this as my vector, only one vector, this v in R2, can you visualize what will be the linear span of this vector v? Now here, linear combination of one vector means the multiple, constant multiple of that vector. So that means what will be the set of all the constant multiples of this vector v? Absolutely correct. The set is pretty simple. That will be the line passing through this vector and passing through origin. So this line is the linear span of v. That means for this particular one vector v in R2, the linear span I can write of this vector or the set consisting of a single vector v or a singleton set will be the line through origin containing v. Now, if we consider this one, that is, my two vectors v1 and v2 are lying on the same line. That means they are coinciding. Then can you understand what will be the linear span of these two vectors v1 and v2? Absolutely correct. That will be nothing but the line passing through origin and containing these two vectors. So this. That means in this case, I can write that the linear span of the set containing two vectors v1 and v2 is the line through origin containing the vectors v1 and v2. We can have analogous visualization in 3 dimension also. In the first picture from the left, my three vectors are the three unit vectors e1, e2, e3 say. So now can you tell me what will be the linear span of the set comprising of these three vectors e1, e2, e3? It's quite obvious. The linear span will be the entire three-dimensional Cartesian plane, because you can create every vector on this three-dimensional Cartesian plane by taking a suitable linear combination of these three vectors e1, e2, e3. Or in other words, the set of all possible linear combinations of these three vectors will be the entire three-dimensional Cartesian plane. So this is R3. Now in the second diagram from the left, say my vectors are v1, v2, v3. So now can you tell me what will be the linear span of the set comprising of these three vectors v1, v2, v3? Again, it will be exactly R3. You can create in a similar way any vector by taking a suitable linear combination of these three vectors in R3. So the linear span of these three vectors also will be R3, and the point to note is that none of these vectors as drawn are coplanar. So that is an important thing you need to take care. Now, in the third diagram from left, what I have done is, along with this v1, v2, v3, I have added one more vector, that is v4. Now think, will that change the linear span? That means if I ask you now, what will be the linear span of the set comprising of four vectors v1, v2, v3, v4? You will immediately answer that this will also be R3. So this addition of this extra vector will not change the span or will have no impact at all. Now, the fourth and the last diagram from the left side of your screen, let us consider this vector as v1, this vector as v2. So if I ask you what will be the linear span of the set comprising of the vectors v1 and v2, what will be your answer? Pretty simple, you will say that the answer will be the plane as you can see. on which these two vectors are lying. So this will be a plane in R3, which is containing these two vectors. Now, the point is, if I add one more vector on the same plane, say V3, will the span change? Remember, V3 is lying on the same plane on which V1 and V2 is lying. So now, if I consider the linear span of the set comprising of V1, V2, V3, will the span change? Absolutely not. That will be the same plane, that will remain same as we have got earlier. That means that will remain same as the linear span of V1 and V2, because the three vectors we have taken are coplanar. So the span will not change. Now, if I add a vector to this set which is not lying in the plane, say V4, and now if we consider the linear span of any three vectors from this set of four vectors, say for example, if I consider now the linear span of say V1, V2, V4, now tell me what will happen. The linear span of V1, V2 and V4. Remember, V1 and V2 are coplanar, but V4 is not lying in that plane. So now think and tell me what will be the linear span in this case. Absolutely correct. Now the linear span will be R3. Now the linear span will change. Now the linear span will become R3. So if we summarize the whole thing that we have seen, I can in general make the following remarks. Any set of vectors in R2 which contains two non-collinear vectors will span R2. The second one, any set of vectors in R3 which contains three non-coplanar vectors will span R3. And the third one, two non-collinear vectors in R3 will span a plane in R3. So whatever we have seen geometrically, these remarks are summarizing those things. Now, let us see some examples or try to solve some problems. The first one is, show that the vector v equal to 840 is a linear combination of the vectors v1 is equal to 2 minus 1 3, v2 is equal to minus 1 2 1, and v3 is equal to 3 1 minus 4. Now, if the vector v, that is 840, can be written as a linear combination of these three vectors, then there will exist three constants c1, c2, c3 such that 840 can be written as equal to c1 into 2 minus 1 3 plus c2 into minus 1 2 1 plus C3 into 3, 1 minus 4, where C1, C2, C3 are real numbers or constants, are real numbers. Now, if we simplify actually this, we will get a system of linear equations given by 2C1 minus C2 plus 3C3 is equal to 8 minus C1 plus 2C2 plus C3 is equal to 4, and 3C1 plus C2 minus 4C3 is equal to 0. Now you can solve this system and find out the values of C1, C2, C3 by any method you wish if the solution at all exists. You can apply Cramer's rule or you can apply Gaussian elimination algorithm. Actually, in my previous video of this series, I have solved exactly this system using Gaussian elimination algorithm. If you're not familiar with Gaussian elimination algorithm, have a look at my previous video. The link is in the description below and you can see above as well. Since I have already solved it in my previous video, I'll directly write the results. Actually, if you solve this by Gaussian elimination algorithm, you will find out that C1 is equal to 2, C2 is equal to 2, C3 is also equal to 2. Actually, you can solve it in any method you wish, you will get this answer. I have solved it using Gaussian elimination in my previous video. So the solution is C1 equal to 2, C2 equal to 2, C3 equal to 2 on solving. So fine, that means we are getting that the vector 840 can be written as 2 into 2 minus 1, 3 plus 2 into minus 1, 2, 1 plus 2 into 3, 1 minus 4. Hence, we have showed whatever was asked in the question. So this is how you can express any vector as a linear combination of other vectors, if at all that is possible. So now I want to tell you something at this moment, which you can consider as a note, that is, the zero vector is always a linear combination of any collection of vectors in Rn. Hence, the linear span of a set S will always contain zero vector for any set S. If you ask me why or how, then the answer is pretty simple. Actually, the zero vector can always be written as equals to scalar 0 into v1 plus 0 scalar 0 into v2 plus, in this way, scalar 0 into, say, vr if your set contains these are vectors. So it's kind of obvious. So now let us solve one more problem, but slightly different in nature. Is minus 5, 12, 1 a linear combination of these three vectors 0, 8, 16, 2, minus 1, minus 1, and 4, 4, 10? Okay, if possible, let this minus 5, 12, 1 is a linear combination of these three vectors, and minus 5, 12, 1 is equal to C1 into 0, 8, 16 plus C2 into 2 minus 1 minus 1 plus C3 into 4, 4, 10 for some C1, C2, C3, for some C1, C2, C3 as and they are real numbers. For some real numbers, C1, C2, C3. Fine. Now, actually, this leads to a system of linear simultaneous equations given by 2C2 plus 4C3 is equal to minus 5. Then 8C1 minus C2 plus 4C3 is equal to 12. And the third equation will be 16C1 minus C2 plus 10C3 is equal to 1. Now you can try to find the solution of this system by any method you wish. Actually, I have discussed the nature of solution of exactly this system in my previous video on Gaussian elimination algorithm. And I showed you that this system will have no solution. Hence, the vector minus 5, 12, 1 cannot be represented as a linear combination of these three vectors. And geometrically, we can say that this vector minus 5, 12, 1 is not lying in the space spanned by these three vectors. Now let us solve another problem which will reveal another case. Represent 147 as a linear combination of the three vectors 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 8 and minus 3, minus 8, minus 13 if possible. Okay, let this 1, 4, 7 is equal to some constant C1 into 1, 2, 3 plus some constant C2 into 2, 5, 8 plus some constant C3 into minus 3, minus 8, minus 13, where your C1, C2, C3 are some real numbers. So in a similar way as above, as the earlier problems, this will represent the system of linear equations C1 plus 2C2 minus 3C3 is equal to 1. Then 2C1 plus 5C2 minus 8C3 is equal to 4. And then 3C1 plus 8C2 minus 13C3 is equal to 7. Now you can solve this system by any method you wish. You can refer my previous video on Gaussian elimination algorithm for an efficient process of or method of solving this kind of system of linear equations. And if you solve, then you can see that actually this system of linear simultaneous equations will possess infinite number of solutions given by C1 is equal to minus 3 minus a, C2 is equal to 2 plus 2a, and C3 is equal to a. What is a? This a is any arbitrary real number. That means if I plug in different values for a, I will get different solution for this system. Or in other words, this system will have infinite number of solutions. That means this vector 1, 4, 7 can be represented as a linear combination of these three vectors in an infinite number of ways. For example, if I plug in a is equal to 0, then I can get 1, 4, 7 is equal to, say if I plug in a is equal to 0, then my C1 will be minus 3. So minus 3 into 1, 2, 3. If I plug in a is equal to 0, my C2 will be 2. So plus 2 into 2, 5, 8. Then if I plug in a equal to 0, C3 is 0. So there is nothing from that part. So this solution I am getting for a is equal to 0. In a similar way, if I plug in say a equal to 1, then I'll be getting 1, 4, 7 is equal to if I plug in a is equal to 1, then C1 will be equal to minus 4. So minus 4 into 1, 2, 3. If I plug in a equal to 1, C2 is 4. So 4 into 2, 5, 8. And if I plug in a is equal to 1, C3 is 1. So that is plus 1 into minus 3 minus 8 minus 13. This solution I'll be getting for a is equal to 1. In this way, if you plug in different values of a, you will get different representations for the vector 1, 4, 7 in terms of the three given vectors. So this system in this way possesses an infinite number of solutions. Now this case is very interesting if you look at the representation for a equals to 0, means this one. See, you can understand that the third vector is actually not needed here to represent 1, 4, 7 in this way. Actually, I can represent 1, 4, 7 in terms of these two vectors only. The third vector is not at all required. That is kind of redundant in this case. So if it is a question of representing 1, 4, 7, then I can say that yes, I can represent 1, 4, 7 by using these two vectors only. I don't need any other vector. Actually, I don't need, that means specifically in this case, I don't need the third vector. Now, if you further examine the three vectors, you will find an interesting fact. You will find that the vectors minus 3, 8, minus 3, minus 8, minus 13 can be written as equal to 1 into 1, 2, 3 plus minus 2 into 2, 5, 8. That's interesting. How I got this? Pretty simple. I have actually solved the system, say C1 plus 2C2 equals to 3. 2C1 plus 5C2 is equal to minus 8, and 3C1 plus 8C2 is equal to minus 13. I have solved this system by using Gaussian elimination algorithm, and I got as a solution C1 is equal to 1 and C2 is equal to minus 2. So you can see that I have exactly represented this minus 3, minus 8, minus 13 as a linear combination of the two vectors 1, 2, 3 and 2, 5, 8 in this way. Now, actually, any vector in the given set can be represented as a linear combination of the other two. For example, I can write this 1, 2, 3 as equal to 2 into 2, 5, 8 plus 1 into minus 3, minus 8, minus 13. And the vector 2, 5, 8 can also be written as equal to half into 1, 2, 3 plus minus half into minus 3, minus 8, minus 13. Now, if you ask me how I got these two representations, pretty simple. I have just rearranged the terms in the first representation. Now, that means we have got such a set of vectors, means if I consider a set of these three vectors, then these three vectors form a set where any of the vector can be represented as a linear combination of the other two vectors. Now, such a set of vectors is known as linearly dependent set of vectors, formally defined as a set of vectors S is equal to V1, V2, V3, etc. Vr in Rn is said to be linearly dependent if one of them can be represented as a linear combination of the others. That is, if one of the vectors lies in the linear span of the other vectors. Now, we have seen earlier that the set S is equal to, if I form a set with the three vectors we were discussing earlier, that is 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 8, and minus 3, minus 8, minus 13. Then this set is clearly linearly dependent. As we can see above that any one of these three vectors can be represented as a linear combination of the other two vectors. Moreover, if you note carefully, then you can see that 1 into 1, 2, 3 plus minus 2 into 2, 5, 8 plus minus 1 into minus 3, minus 8, minus 13 will be equal to the 0 vector. Now, that means if you carefully observe this linear combination, then what we are getting? We are getting the linear combination of these three vectors with non-zero scalar multiples yield the 0 vector. Now, which leads to another more formal definition of this linear dependence. A set of vectors S is equal to V1, V2, etc. Vr is said to be linearly dependent if there exist scalars C1, C2, etc. Cr not all 0 such that C1, V1 plus C2, V2 plus etc. plus Cr, Vr is equal to the 0 vector. Now, note that this condition that all the scalars should not be 0 is very, very important, because otherwise, if all the scalars are 0, then automatically this linear combination would yield a 0 vector. So there is no point in it. So the interesting point is that even if all the scalar multiples are not zeros, even if some of them are non-zero, but the linear combination yields the zero vector. If that happens, then we will say that the set of vectors is linearly dependent. As we have seen above that, here actually all the three scalar multiples are non-zero. Hence the result of this linear combination is the zero vector. So the set given is a linearly dependent set. Now, with a decent effort, one can further prove that the set of vectors S is equal to V1, V2, etc., Vr in Rn is linearly dependent if and only if one of them be a linear combination of the preceding vectors. So this can be very easily obtained by manipulating the above alternative definition of a linearly dependent set. Now, if a set of vectors is not linearly dependent, then it is obvious that it will be termed as a linearly independent set of vectors. Formally speaking, a set of vectors S is equal to V1, V2, etc., Vr is linearly independent if none of the vectors can be represented as a linear combination of the others. Or in other words, a set of vectors S is equal to V1, V2, etc., Vr in Rn is said to be linearly independent if C1 V1 plus C2 V2 plus etc. plus CR Vr is equal to zero vector implies each of these scalars are zero. Now you have seen in the definition of linear dependence, I said that at least one of these scalars should be non-zero, means not all zero. Now here I am saying that the linear combination yields a zero vector means all your scalars are zero. This will be very useful in solving problems, that is finding whether a set of vectors is linearly dependent or independent. You form this kind of a linear combination, equate that with zero and solve the system. If you get all your constants are zero, then you can understand that your set of vectors is linearly independent, or otherwise, if you get some non-zero constants as a solution, then you will understand that your set of vectors is linearly dependent. Now, if I go back to the diagrams I discussed earlier when talking about linear span, let us try to identify in these diagrams which of the vectors form a linearly dependent set and which of the vectors form a linearly independent set. For example, if I look at here, you can understand that this set of vectors E1, E2, E3 is linearly independent. Now again, this set with vectors V1, V2, V3 is also linearly independent. Now, this set of four vectors, what do you say? What it will be, linearly dependent or independent? Of course, we can understand that actually any three of these set of vectors will span R3, where the other vector will lie. So actually, I can say any one of these vector will lie in the span of the other three vectors. Or in other words, any one of these four vectors can be written as a linear combination of the other three vectors. So this set of vectors is linearly dependent. Now, if you look at the next one, what about this set of two vectors, V1 and V2? What kind of a set is this? Of course, this is linearly independent. Now, if I consider this set of vectors, V1, V2, V3, what kind of a set it is? Now, this will be linearly dependent because you can see here that it is written why it is linearly dependent. Actually, the vector V3 lies in the span of V1 and V2. Or we can say the vector V2 lies in the span of V3, V1. Or we can say the vector V1 lies in the span of V2, V3, all are same. So this set is also linearly dependent. Now, if I consider this set V1, V2, V4, what we can say now? Now this set V1, V2, V4, this set will be linearly independent. Now you can understand that none of these three are such that you can represent one as a linear combination of the others. So this set is linearly independent. So if we summarize our observation, it appears that, or we can say that, linear dependence is actually a generalization of collinearity or coplanarity. Means if you see here that your vectors are linearly dependent, that means you can either see that the vectors are coplanar, or in fact, if we move above, in this case, if I see, then this set V1, V2, actually this is a linearly dependent set, because you can understand I can represent V2 as a multiple of V1, or V2 lies in the span of V1, and vice versa, V1 lies in the span of V2. So this is linearly dependent, and accordingly the vectors are collinear. So we can say that this linear dependence is a generalization of the concept of collinearity or coplanarity of vectors. Now we can have some more generic results which will make the subject more interesting. Firstly, I can say that any set of vectors containing the zero vector is linearly dependent. The reason is pretty simple. You can always represent the zero vector as a linear combination of any other vector as say 0 into v1 plus 0 into v2 plus, in this way, 0 into vn. So if your set contains the zero vector, you can represent that zero vector as a linear combination of the other vectors in your set in this way. Now this leads to another observation, that the linear span of any set of vector space contains the zero vector, because you can represent zero vector as a linear combination of any collection of vectors. Now suppose you have a square matrix A given by this. I have considered an arbitrary 3 cross 3 square matrix. Now suppose I am denoting the first row vector of this matrix as V1, the second row vector of the matrix as V2, and the third row vector of the matrix as V3. And I am forming a set of vectors, say S, which is equal to V1, V2, V3. Now, if this S is linearly dependent, then any vector in the set S can be written as a linear combination of the other two vectors in the set S. For example, say V3 is equal to C1 V1 plus C2 V2 for some constant C1 and C2. Now this means the third row of this matrix A can be represented as a linear combination of the first row and second row. Now tell me, if I do elementary row operations, keeping in mind this feature that the third row is a linear combination of the first row and second row, and if I apply a row operation, say R3, that means the third row changes to R3 minus C1 into R1 plus C2 into R2. Can you tell me, as an equivalent matrix, what I will get? Absolutely correct. I will get the third row to be 0 and the first and second row will remain intact. So my matrix will become equivalent to this matrix. Now tell me, if I think about the determinant value of this matrix A, what will be the determinant value of this matrix A? Naturally, that will be equal to the determinant of this matrix, determinant value of this matrix. And what is the determinant value of this matrix? Pretty simple, it is 0. So determinant A is equal to 0. That means what we have got? We have got that when the set of row vectors of a matrix, of a square matrix, are linearly dependent, then the determinant value of that square matrix will be 0. We have seen this for a 3 cross 3 matrix, and similarly you can have an analogous result for an n cross n matrix. So we can write that let A be a square matrix. If determinant A is equals to 0, then the row vectors of A are linearly dependent. Now, if instead of rows, if I do the same kind of calculation for columns, say if the three column vectors are linearly dependent, then if I do the same calculation in an analogous way, can you tell me what will be the determinant value that I'll obtain in that case? In that case also the determinant value will be 0. Then you can do all column operations to calculate the determinant value and you will get one column totally 0, and as a result the determinant value will become 0. So this result which I have stated in 3, this remark, is true for columns also. So I will write if row or column vectors. Now this is a very easy way to test whether a set of vectors given are linearly dependent or not. You find out the determinant value. If the determinant value is equals to 0, then you know that your set of vectors are linearly dependent. But remember, for that your matrix should be a square matrix. If it is not a square matrix, then you have to do some other kind of checking, that is whatever we have done earlier. So you need to find that from the definition. You need to form a linear combination, and then you have to find out the values of the constants. If the values of the constants are all 0, you know it is linearly dependent set. If some are if all are 0, you know it is a linearly independent set, and if some are non-zero, you know that it is a linearly dependent set of vectors. Now I can add a few more words to it, that and if determinant of A is not equal to 0, then the row or column vectors of the matrix A are linearly independent. Now I will state a proposition which geometrically we have already seen. Let S is equal to V1, V2, etc. Vr be a set of R vectors in Rn. If Vr is equal to C1, V1 plus C2, V2 plus etc. plus Cr minus 1, Vr minus 1. That means Vr is a linear combination of the other vectors in the set. Then the linear span of the whole set S will be equal to the linear span of another set which I can obtain by excluding Vr. That means the linear span of the R vectors V1, V2, etc. Vr will be equal to the linear span of the remaining R minus 1 vectors V1, V2, etc. Vr minus 1, in whose term you have expressed Vr. That is, if any one of the vectors in the given collection is a linear combination of the others, then it can be discarded without affecting the span. Therefore, to arrive at the most efficient spanning set, find and eliminate any vector that is a linear combination of the others. Or in other words, find the maximal linearly independent spanning set. Such a set is known as the basis of your span. Now, remember this word basis. When I will discuss about vector space, I will discuss about this thing basis with a great detail. This is extremely important concept of linear algebra. And the number of vectors in that spanning set is known as the dimension of the span. That means now if this set of vectors is linearly independent, then I will say that the basis of this linear span is given by this set, and the dimension of the span will be R minus 1. If not, if this set is again linearly dependent, then I may have to eliminate one more vector from this set, and I need to check whether the set consisting of the remaining R minus 2 vectors are linearly independent or not. If then that is linearly independent, then we will say that the basis of that linear span will be equal to that set of R minus 2 vectors, and the dimension will be R minus 2. And I have used the word maximal, not maximum, because such a spanning set may not be unique. the same span can be obtained by spanning different linearly independent sets also. We will learn all these things in much detail when we will study vector spaces. Now let us solve a very interesting problem. Let us consider three vectors given by v1 equal to 253, v2 equal to 111, and v3 equal to 511, 7. First, let us find out whether these three vectors form a linearly dependent set or they form a linearly independent set. For that, let us consider there exist scalars C1, C2, C3 such that C1 into 253 plus C2 into 111 plus C3 into 511, 7 is equal to the zero vector. And this leads to the system of linear simultaneous equations 2C1 plus C2 plus 5C3 is equals to 0. 5C1 plus C2 plus 11C3 is equal to 0. 3C1 plus C2 plus 7C3 is equal to 0. Now, since this system is a homogeneous system of linear equations, there can be two possibilities. Either this system will have unique solution, that is 0, 0, 0 for the values of C1, C2, C3, or the system will have infinite number of solutions. Now, those who are familiar with Gaussian elimination algorithm can very easily solve it using Gaussian elimination algorithm. If you want a quick revision, you can just check my previous video on Gaussian elimination algorithm. Now, if you solve it by using Gaussian elimination algorithm or by any method you wish, you will get that this system will possess an infinite number of solutions. One particular solution can be given by C1 is equal to 2, C2 is equal to 1, C3 is equal to -1. That means apart from C1 equal to 0, C2 equal to 0, C3 equals to 0, we have non-zero solutions for this system as well. That means the set of vectors is equal to the set formed by v1, v2, v3 is linearly dependent. Otherwise, you would have obtained a unique solution for this homogeneous system, that is C1 equal to 0, C2 equal to 0, C3 equal to 0. That would have been the only possibility if the set would have been linearly independent. So here the set is linearly dependent, and we can write V3 is equal to 2V1 plus V2. Now that means V3 can be represented as a linear combination of the two other vectors in the set V1 and V2. That means by the proposition I have stated here, what I can write? I can write that the linear span of V1, V2, V3 will be equal to the linear span of V1 and V2, which is equal to the set of all the linear combinations of the vectors v1 and v2 given by k1 into v1 plus k2 into v2 for real numbers k1 and k2. This is the infinite set of all the linear combinations formed with the two vectors v1 and v2, and this is equal to the set of all the triplets of the form 2k1 plus k2, 5k1 plus k2, and 3k1 plus k2, where k1 and k2 are any two real numbers. Now you can understand very easily that actually this set defines a plane in R3. That means the linear span of the three vectors v1, v2, v3 is equal to the linear span of the two vectors v1, v2, and that span is a plane in R3. That means the linear span of three vectors v1, v2, v3 is a two-dimensional space. Or in other words, if you think, you can say that the vector v3 lies in the plane spanned by the vectors v1 and v2. And a normal vector to this plane is given by n cap is equal to v1 cross v2. If you calculate, this will be 2, 1, minus 3. Therefore, we can write the equation of the plane spanned by these vectors v1 and v2, or the vectors v1, v2, v3 is of the form 2x plus y minus 3z is equal to d for some constant d. Now we know that the span of any set of vectors contain the zero vector. That means the plane of this context will pass through the origin. That means d must be equal to 0 here. Therefore, the linear span of the set consisting of the vectors v1, v2, v3 is equal to the linear span of the set consisting of the vectors v1 and v2, and that is given by 2x plus y minus 3z is equal to 0. Now, if you calculate in a similar way, you can find that this will be equal to the linear span of the other two vectors, that means v1 and v3. And even this will be equal to the linear span of the set formed by the other two combination of these three vectors, that means v2 and v3. And if you calculate, you will see that in all the cases, your span will be the same, 2x plus y minus 3z is equal to 0. So this is what we are getting as a span. And that means I get another thing, that this is the linear span given by this plane. The linear span of these set of vectors means you can consider the set of three vectors v1, v2, v3, or you can consider the set of two vectors v1, v2, or v1, v3, or v2, v3. But the span will remain same, that is 2x plus y minus 3z is equal to 0. Now you can consider, you can understand that when I am considering as a spanning set this set is formed with two linearly independent vectors, same as these things, same as this. But when I consider this set, this is formed with three vectors which are linearly dependent. Now, as I told you about the definition of basis, so here we can say that the basis of this span is formed by the linearly independent sets. Say basis may be v1, v2, or basis may be v2, v3, or basis may be the set comprising of the vectors v1 and v3. Now, in my definition of basis, I said basis means maximal linearly independent spanning set. So there are three terms: maximal, linearly independent, and spanning set. Now, the two terms spanning set and linearly independent, I guess you have understood. Each of these three are spanning this space and they are linearly independent sets also. Now, why I have said maximal? Maximal I have said because each of these three are maximum in a sense that if you add one more vector to these sets, your sets will become linearly dependent. So the maximum possible number of vectors that can be chosen out of these three vectors to form a linearly independent set is 2. Now here each of the set is containing two vectors. So if you add one more, you will lose your linear independence. So in that sense, each of these sets are having maximum number of linearly independent vectors. Now, since such a set which is having maximum number of linearly independent vectors and spanning this space is not unique, we are not using the word maximum, we are using the word maximal. Actually, maximal means second to none. If, for example, if in an exam, two students are getting the highest marks, say 95, I will say no one has scored maximum marks, but those two students have scored maximal marks. So that is the difference between the use of the words maximum and maximal in mathematics. Now, since I can have more than one basis, means more than one set containing linearly independent vectors and spanning the space also, I have not used the word maximum, I have used the word maximal. So that is the specific usage of words in mathematics. So these are the basis, and you can understand the dimension of the spanning set here is, what is the dimension? The dimension of the span here is actually 2 because each of the basis means the basis is containing two elements, two linearly independent vectors. So the dimension of the span is 2. So we have seen that I was having three vectors, but these three vectors are spanning a two-dimensional space. So we can say that a linearly dependent set of n vectors will span a space of dimension less than n, and a linearly independent set of n vectors will span an n-dimensional space. We have seen both of these in our previous example. Now, with a very little effort, one can prove that the non-zero rows of a matrix in echelon form are linearly independent. Now, this gives us another easy way out to find whether a given set of vectors is linearly independent or not. What you have to do, you form a matrix keeping all those vectors in rows. And then by doing suitable elementary row operations or by applying the most efficient Gaussian elimination algorithm, you find out the echelon form of that matrix. Now you check in that echelon form how many non-zero rows you are having. The count of non-zero rows or the number of non-zero rows will tell you whether your set is linearly independent or not. If all the rows in that echelon form of that matrix are non-zero, then your set is a linearly independent set of vectors. If not, then you will understand that your set is a linearly dependent set of vectors. And accordingly, you will understand which will be a linearly independent subset of that set of vectors. So this is very efficient because you can apply the determinant technique when your matrix formed with the row vectors as your vectors is a square matrix. Then only you can apply that determinant technique. But this technique you can apply for any matrix. So this is a very efficient way out to find out whether your set is linearly independent or not. Now, with very little more effort, we can prove if a matrix has m linearly independent rows or columns, then the row vectors or column vectors will span an m-dimensional space, and such a space is known as the row space if spanned by the row vectors, or column space if spanned by the column vectors of the matrix. Now, in light of the example that we just discussed, this example, we can say that the row space of the matrix 2, 5, 3, 1, 1, 1, 5, 11, 7, I have written the three vectors as row of these matrix, is given by this plane 2x plus y minus 3z is equals to 0. So whenever you look at this matrix, you can visualize this plane as the row space. Similarly, you can find out the column space as well. Okay, I'm giving you one task. Your task is find the column space of this matrix. You find the column space and let me know the answer in the comment section below. I'm keeping this as your home assignment and I'll be waiting for your answer. Now, further to the proposition that I have stated here, with a little more effort, we can prove that the maximum number of linearly independent rows of any matrix A is equal to the maximum number of linearly independent columns of A. Now, why I have said maximum number of linearly independent rows or columns? Because you know that any subset of a linearly independent set of vectors is also linearly independent. Thus, this theorem means that the dimension of the row space is equal to the dimension of the column space. Now, this equal number is known as the rank of this matrix A. Therefore, we can formally define rank of a matrix as the rank of a matrix A is equal to the maximum number of linearly independent rows or columns of the matrix A, or equivalently, The rank of a matrix A is equal to the dimension of the row space or column space, since they are equal, of the matrix A. Now, since the number of linearly independent rows of a matrix is equal to the number of non-zero rows in the echelon form of that matrix, an alternative definition of rank can be given as the rank of a matrix A is equal to the number of non-zero rows in an echelon form of A. For example, whatever we have seen above, the rank of the matrix 2, 5, 3, 1, 1, 1, 5, 11, 7 is 2. So I can say this is a matrix whose rank is 2. Now, if I look at this matrix, I got one information I can say from above, that the rank of the matrix is 2. What more comes to my mind now after this 1 hour long discussion? If I look at this matrix, what more comes to this mind apart from that its rank is 2? I can say that this matrix contains two linearly independent row vectors, and if you check, you also can see that this matrix will contain two linearly independent column vectors. And since the row vectors of this matrix forms a linearly dependent set, if I name the matrix as A, we further can say that the determinant value of this matrix A will be equal to 0. Further, we can say that the linear span of the row vectors or the row space is two-dimensional. And even we know the row space also, that is given by 2x plus y minus 3z equals to 0. So whenever you look into a matrix, if you learn to decode properly, all these information should come to your mind, or all these visualizations should come to your mind once you learn to analyze a matrix properly. Now, there are some more aspects of a rank of a matrix which will reveal some other facts also about a matrix, will be discussed in my next lecture. So see you again in the next video. Take care.